All right, I think we are here. Hey, Lucy. Hey, Lucy, how are you?
Oh, that's great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So I saw your comment and it said there's a little bit of clicking. So I just want to make sure, is it still there or how
It
is the
stopped.
audio? It stopped. It was the music. Okay. All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Thank you all so much for being here. Today is a first for Lucy and I, Lucy and me, actually. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher. You may know me from my cooking channel, but I'm so happy that Lucy and I are actually starting a finishing school for modern women. You can check the link in the description and we'll be happy to answer any questions. But today we're just doing something new. We're planning on doing these maybe like twice a month. It's just an open Q&A. Whatever you all want to talk about, we are here to answer as your etiquette, elegance, and femininity elders. What would you like to say, Lucy, before we get started?
I think I wanted to bring up the discussion that we've had with Lauren about the copyright and the trademarks and all that legal stuff that I'm telling you guys, Maggie has the network of, she knows everyone. So we were talking about, how to best protect our documentation and our thoughts, our ideas. And she's been talking to this attorney, an incredible young, beautiful attorney. Her hands are beautiful. I'm a hands person, and every time she talked, I just looked at her hands because she looked like a Cinderella talking with those hands. But anyway, incredibly smart and eloquent, and she knows what she's doing. And she was talking to us about the process of trademarking your property, your what is it? Your documentation,
Mhm.
the copyright process. And because you know Lauren a little more, you've been talking to her, Maggie, a little more. Maybe you can further tell us a little bit on what's going on that side of the business plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll get into our first question. So if you all have questions, just like any Q&A, you can put them in the chat. I've also pinned the StreamYard link. If you all want to come up and talk to us, you can be camera on or camera off. Anything that you think that we can help you with, we would be happy to. But yes, a post is coming soon, but just really excited. So for those of you all that are interested in the finishing school, it is an 8-week live but privately taught class for women of all ages who are interested in refining. So in the 8 weeks, there's 7 weeks of lecture with corresponding workbooks. You can preview them for free in the link, as well as on week 8, we have guest speakers who have agreed to come share with you all. And I'm so happy to report that Lauren Morgan from Activated Law has agreed to be a guest speaker. And she is actually making sure that all of the work that we've been doing for the finishing school for the modern woman, from the name to the curriculum to the coursework, everything will be trademarked and protected because Lucy and I believe this is our life's work and we want it to long outlive us. So you all will be able to see Lauren in class, and she's also agreed to do a little collab with me when she comes to Atlanta. We definitely want to expose ladies to all of these different aspects, and we've got style, we've got feminine movement, we've got hospitality, photography, so many guest speakers that are coming to the finishing school. And for me, one of the biggest benefits is that you'll have lifetime access. So if you ever need to refresh yourself, you absolutely can. So very, very excited about that. But Lucy, we did have one comment on our post. Should we start with that and see what else everybody wants to ask us?
Yes, please do.
All right, so I am going to share my screen. This is a little bit of a long one, but I'm going to show it to you all and I'm going to read it. Then I'll take a stab at answering. I'd love for Lucy to take a stab at answering, and we love the engagement. This is just a casual Saturday office hours, ask us anything. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for the question. All right. So let me bring it down here so you all can see. I did post a little commercial, so we'd love some feedback on that. But this comes from Britt Vick. One subject I would love for you to talk about is how we have changed when it comes to etiquette. I'm 42 and I still get up to answer my door no matter who it is. I'll invite someone in, show them to the lounge, offer them a seat, and ask if they'd like a drink. Now, when you see people on here or other social media apps, everyone just sits on the sofa, full on sloth mode. The men don't get up to shake a hand or kiss someone on the cheek, a polite, "How are you?" "Welcome to our home," etc. I remember my grandfather asking why people are always in their pajamas. He said how he was raised, you put your PJs on before you got into the bed, and that was it. You go to bed. You get up in the morning, get washed and dressed, comb your hair, brush your teeth, and get going. The only time anyone saw you in your nightwear was the doctor, or if you had family to see you because you're at death's door. And even then, you're in your bedroom and not slobbed on the sofa. What happened to please and thank you as well? Wow, wow, wow. There was a lot in that one. So we will try and unpack that. I'd love to know what you all think. But when I read that, for me, it really just speaks to manners and then also how our society, I have to say, you can tell Lucy and I definitely want to bring back that refinement, especially among the ladies. But just in general, people are, dare I say it, lazy. And I was thinking about this with modern technology, and we work, I work in technology, we all like the comforts, from appliances to technology, even being able to interact with us on this live stream. But in my opinion, I think the fact that life has gotten so much easier in the things that people have to do, we don't even try harder in the things that we want to do or probably should do. I agree with you. I was raised the same way. I still stand up when a man enters the room. I show respect that way. I greet. You all know, maybe you don't know, I'm the daughter of a retired home economics teacher, and she taught me to offer a beverage, a snack, even a meal. So, um, I think the way that we can turn this around is to, one, call it out and actually say, no, there is a better way. Because I think some people know, but a lot of people don't know. I was watching something on YouTube and it was a listening party for an artist. And literally she just came in and sat on the sofa and put her legs up like crisscross applesauce on the furniture. And the music was playing and she was just kind of laying back with the microphone. And I'm thinking, you're being streamed to millions of people. Posture and just proper decorum is so important. So we want to change that, and we're going to hopefully be examples for you in that area. But Lucy, I'd love to know what you think about what Britt said.
I love that. I think it's Brit from Brittany, maybe I'm thinking her name, or I think that's a great question. It's one of those observations that as time goes by, if it's not called out, it becomes the norm to not stand up when somebody comes in, to not say the hello. In our countries, in Spanish countries like Latin America, we say hello with a kiss. It all depends on where you go. When you come into the house, you look at the oldest person. That's the person that you say hello first out of respect. You give the kiss, and then it's you learn it from when you're very little. So as your elders, I think when we see that behavior, we say, hey, you need to get up. Your grandma's here. You need to go say hello, because you lose it. And, it's one of those, you lose it in translation. So the more you don't do it, the more people are going to think that it's okay to do it. And calling it out, you're probably going to get those younger folks that are going to get upset, because why do I have to do this? It's because it's out of respect. It's part of those manners that we are trying to rekindle with, because it's a consideration to the next person, to your actual brother in the world or your sister in the world. So I think that it is something that we need to start calling out, and making sure that when we call it out, we also do it, because our kids, they watch what we do and not what we say. So if we're asking them to go and say hello to your grandma, you get up and say hello to your grandma first. So I'm thinking that that is a learned behavior, and we need to start um, reintroducing those concepts to those that have not been introduced from the start.
I think you're absolutely right. And thank you all for the feedback in the chat. Whatever questions you have, please type them in or add to the conversation. And I loved what you said, Lucy. And I think it has a cultural component, a little bit about me. If you all have seen me cook with my mom, you know that I was born in Ghana, West Africa. So I also am an immigrant. And there were some things that I remember my parents insisted that I do, and I didn't understand it. And honestly, I didn't like it. It was hard growing up in America, but having traditional values, for example, the way that you give or receive something from someone, we had to use our right hand because in a lot of other cultures, the left hand is the hygiene hand, so it's inappropriate. Even certain hand gestures, the way that we would stand when someone is speaking to us. There's so much that goes into it. And, when I think about some of the study that I've done on etiquette and elegance, because you're forever a student, we've never arrived. It really is about simplicity. But I love what Lucy said about respect too, because you never want to carry yourself in a way that makes others feel uncomfortable. So even if you feel like laying sprawled out on the couch, I can't go home to my parents' house and swing my legs up and just kind of put them in someone else's lap. It's inappropriate. There are certain things that you do in the comfort of your own home, but then there are certain things that you do around others. So I love that there's an appetite for this type of proper decorum. And like Lucy said, we definitely want to be that example. I see some people in the chat giving us greetings in Spanish. So Lucy, what would you like to share to them? Because we also have an announcement about the finishing school and how accessible it's going to be.
The African Wolf, feliz sábado para usted, señor. Me imagino que es un varón o un caballero. Si no, feliz sábado para usted, señora. So yeah, we are planning on offering the training in Spanish if there's a need. Again, if there's no need, then we'll leave it aside, but we're prepping it just in case there's a need for that side of the community that wants to learn it in Spanish. Again, I see that a bunch of you, hola hermana Lukesley, ¿cómo estás? Bonita. Y the chat, Lady Navoa, muy bien, tu español está muy lindo. And then, yes, and we are planning on maybe offering the opportunity to learn all this stuff in Spanish as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So why don't we, I don't see any other questions in. I'm going to pull that comment back up since there was so much. And why don't we just kind of go through each section? You all can chime in. Again, if you have questions for us, you can put them in the chat. You can also click the link if you'd like to talk to me and Lucy. Today is your day. It's free, so you can ask us whatever questions that you have. If there's a certain scenario you want to run by us, if there's an occasion that you need to get dressed for and you want to know what's appropriate, we are here to offer ourselves to you all, and we're only going to do this publicly a couple times a month, but for our students, this is what we're going to do every week. They'll be able to have access to us, so we are so excited. Let me go back to sharing my screen. I was just looking up Britt so we can see here, whoever you are. Britt, thank you so much. Okay, so let's go through this right here. All right. One subject I would love for you to talk about is how we have changed when it comes to etiquette. I'm 42, so Britt is in our age range. I'm 47, and Lucia shared that she is 57. She says, I still get up to answer my door, no matter who it is. I'll invite someone in, show them to the lounge. Let me see, I might need to refresh this here. But let's just talk about when someone comes to the home. Let's just talk about proper greetings, okay? So whenever you enter a space, and I would even say whenever someone enters a space that you're in, it is proper to at least for a moment make eye contact. You don't have to say, hi, how are you? But just to acknowledge that someone has arrived. I think it's absolutely good etiquette to make eye contact, even a small smile. If someone's coming into your personal space, hello, how are you? But I think that shows that we all want to be seen, we all want to be heard. I believe we all want to be loved, but especially when you go somewhere and people are like this, all the time. We're all guilty of it. But just take that moment, ladies. Take that moment. You never know. I always say men are always watching, and just acknowledge their presence. Lucy, what do you want to say about greetings?
I love that. And I'm thinking, I think I have a little bit of a different perspective because I'm thinking that because of the modern world, we have become a little more protective of our environment. So if you're in a suburban area, you're going to answer the door differently than when you're in a southern environment, in a place where everybody knows everybody. So I think that one of the reasons that people are a little more skeptical about answering the doors and offering, what's inside coming in. And it's because of that protective type environment that we have in bigger cities. And as a city woman or a single woman, you also have to be careful about who you open your doors to. Not anybody can come to your door and you're going to offer them coming in, have some tea because you don't know who they are. But yes, I think that if you have somebody that is well known, it's part of your family or it's a good friend of the family, you do go ahead and open the door, invite them to at least some water or some tea, and have them welcome them into your home because they took the time to come to you, knock on the door, and come and visit. So I think that is some of the things that you do have to be a little more conscientious about who you open your door to. But if you know the person, of course, have time for them because they took the time to come over and visit you.
Absolutely. I love that. We've got a couple questions in here from Ebony. So, again, if you all have questions, ladies, this is your opportunity, or gentlemen too. Anybody and any question. So, Ebony asks, where do you find your modest dresses to buy? So, I love this one because I am not a fashionista. I struggle with this, but I am actually wearing, I believe this is Old Navy, but one of the hacks that I do, I'll pull back so you all can see. I actually have like a layer underneath because this dress, it's kind of a lower cut for my body. And because I know I'm fuller on top, I don't want anything spilling out. So I have to make sure that I'm covered up. So you can buy, you don't have to spend a lot of money. And Lucy's talked about that. I shop at Old Navy. I know Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx are great places. It's not so much about the store. I would say it's about knowing the cut and knowing what flatters you. There are some areas for all of us ladies. I'm smaller on the bottom, so I could wear a dress to the knees or right above the knees because I'm comfortable with a little bit of leg. However, I'm not comfortable up top and on my arms. So I'm always making sure that I have sleeves that can kind of cover those areas. So that's how I would answer the question. Lucy, what would you say about dressing modestly?
I love Ebony's question, and I love that she asked it now because my family and I were planning a trip to Miami in February, and I've been looking for going out dresses, and you cannot find dresses that are just look pretty and are modest. Everything is out there. You show every part of your body, and they're very tied to your body. And some of us are not looking to be looked at that way. Especially if you're not going with your husband or your significant other, you have to protect yourself. So I think one of the ways to tackle those issues with dresses that are not as modest is to always have either a shawl or a jacket, like a more dressy jacket, to put it on top to cover some of the areas that are showing more skin than others. Again, you can find those modest dresses, but again, the norm is showing everything and not keeping yourself a little more covered. And the way that you cover yourself is have an extra layer with you, either a shawl, a nice little jacket that shows your figure, but it's not going to show everything for everybody, because your body is not for everyone to see. Your body is for that special person to enjoy, in private. So I think that was a great question. Again, I've been looking for dresses to go out even at night. There's You don't need to be showing all this stuff out. In fact, when men see a more modest dressed woman at night, you catch their eye, even without wanting to, because you are the exception to the rule.
I absolutely love that. I want to stay on clothing for just a moment, but yes, a couple things that Lucy said, ladies, your body is so special and it should be a gift for the one that you choose to share it with. It's not for public consumption. And I love what Lucy said about, of course, as a woman, you want to be able to show that you have a feminine silhouette, but you definitely don't want to put it all out there. And especially what she said about men. Men are always watching. They're going to look. But is that the type of attention that you want? I always say we need to make a distinction between attention and intention. And I'll give you all a little story. Last night I went out and we just went to a beautiful restaurant here in Atlanta. And there was a couple, and the woman had on what we would probably call stripper heels, just too high. She was tipping around, tight dress from head to toe. It was just like she put it all on. And my man looked at me and he was like, that's his fault. She should have never left the house like that. And so just men are very protective of what they consider theirs. So even if you don't have a man yet, the fact that you are reserving some things for his eyes only, I think that it speaks volumes. I'll pull up one thing and then I see some more stuff in the chat. So in this comment that we had here, I notice it says, grandfather is asking, why are people always in their pajamas? So let's talk about dressing. This is something that I always raise my hand and tell you all, where I got it right and where I got it wrong. I was guilty of just putting on whatever was clean and comfortable. And I had the same outfit, whether I was dropping off at school or home cooking or whatnot. And I hired a stylist, and she's actually going to come speak to the finishing school. And she really said something to me that I never forgot. And she said, every time you leave the house, somebody is seeing you for the first time. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't care. This is just me. But I would argue that you do care. And I tell my consults, because I do talk to women one-on-one, would the man of your dreams, or better yet, his mother, approve of this post, this outfit, this behavior, whatever you're doing, if those are your reasons for wanting to refine? So I would just say this, keep it really simple. Consider the environment, consider the occasion, right? We'll get more into detail in the finishing school, but I know even traveling in Europe, you're not even allowed to go into some churches with like sleeveless or too much showing, just out of respect. So err on the side of being more modest. And again, I love what that quote said about pajamas being for bedtime. We have all been in airports and in different public places. People are wearing slippers. Don't even get me started about the bonnets. None of that stuff should leave the house. It is not okay. So I wanted to make sure I said that. Lucy, what do you want to say about dressing appropriately?
I agree with you. There's always an opportunity to make a first impression. And what kind of impression do you want to make when you're out there wearing pajamas, or just looking like you're not taking care of yourself? When you go out there in the world, people treat you as they see you. If they see you that you're not planning on what you look like, they're probably going to treat you the same way. So how do you want to be treated? Do you want to be treated like an extra person, or do you want to be given that VIP treatment because you know that you're a VIP person by the way you dress and the way you behave out there? So I think that, yeah, the pajamas, the best place to just people watch is the airport. And you see those pajama wearing folks coming in and out. Some people even take their shoes off in the plane. That would probably cause me to have a little bit of an issue. And I don't complain ever, but I would probably say something because it's just, you're in a closed space and you're going to have somebody's, you know, feet around you. So you got to just be considerate to the next person because they might have they may come from a different culture, from a different background, they could be in a state of mind that something could just snap them. And if you take your shoes in front of that person and you're just rude to them, that person could snap back. So again, it's just consideration for the next person next to you.
I love that. I see some comments in here. I'll just add to that, you all. You never know, especially around other cultures and some of my international studies, it is actually very rude to show the soles of your feet. In some cultures, in Asian cultures and other cultures, having your feet up and showing the bottom of your feet is rude. So just err on the side of caution. So we have a comment or a question here from DMSA 918. Thank you so much for the question. It says, how do you suggest convincing younger siblings on applying etiquette? I'm 32. My sisters are 26 and 23. When I suggest them not showing so much cleavage and self-respect, they disagree without reason. I love this question. I'll take a stab at it, and then Lucy, please chime in. I'd love to know what you all think in the chat. I think the female empowerment movement pendulum has swung way too far. I think there was good intention in the beginning for equality, but now it is so far beyond what to me makes even common sense. And so now women are leading with sexuality, which is incredibly masculine and off putting to the caliber of man that you actually want. Going back to what I said about confusing attention for intention. So what I would say to, I know at 23 and 26, we've all been there, right? We were young, we were bullheaded, you couldn't tell us anything. One of the things that I try to tell young people now, Lucy and I grew up in an age before the internet, but the internet is forever. And, my heart does go out to young people because you want a little bit of freedom to just kind of have those, moments. But I tell my own children and any young person that will listen, the internet is forever. So don't make a permanent decision from a temporary situation. And you can have fun. You can still live life and enjoy without doing something that you'll regret. So whether or not they're single or in a relationship, I would say, does your man or the man that you want, would he approve of what you're wearing? Lucy, how would you answer this question?
That's an excellent question. And I've been actually dealing with that with my nieces. I have a niece that's 23 and I have a niece that's 18. And at that age, unfortunately, they think that they know the world. They think that they know everything. You can't tell them, how to behave because they're going to do what they're going to do. However, one question to ask is, what is the quality of a significant other that you want to meet? Do you want a man that only looks at the outside of who you are? Or do you want a man to look at your modesty and want to know exactly what's in the head, what's inside you, without having to worry about what's outside? So, and I would look at, what has been the success rate on their past friendships with the, potential significant others, and also to ask their friends, their male friends, what do you think about what I wear? Do you think that this is a little too much, or are you okay with it? Because again, we're also talking about modern men. Modern men have allowed a lot of stuff from women to just be okay. And I think it's time to kind of take it back a little bit because it's hurting both sides. It's hurting the men. The men do not want to have anything to do with the modern women. The modern women want to do whatever they want to do, thinking that there's no consequences. And when they're 32, 33, they see the consequences saying, why can I meet this good person? So again, it's hard to speak to 18 to 25-year-olds because they think they know everything, but find the soft spot. Find the thing that's going to get them to think a little more, because you know what? They listen. They listen, even though they seem that whatever you're saying, it's nonsense. You just have to put that little thought in their mind, and it goes back, and they listen. The good ones do listen.
I 100% agree. And I love that. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been hard headed, and you couldn't tell us anything. But for me, what I believe very strongly is that the older women should teach the young. And that's why Lucy and I are here and we're making ourselves available. We could easily just say, not our problem, and live our comfortable lives. But I do feel compelled to help younger women. And even if they don't listen right now, like Lucy said, if we plant the seed, how many of us, did things or made decisions and it's like, you know what, somebody told me not to do this, but, at least we try. And I think our superpower, if I may, is that we have this life experience that I think makes us old enough to have wisdom, but young enough to be relatable and tell younger women, you are going to be 30 something, 40 something, 50 something one day. And the decisions that you make right now, you don't want them to disqualify you from the life that you want. So, yeah, I say give it your best effort. But unfortunately, now the example for women of what a woman is so far beyond what I think is healthy. So we're doing our part to try. And thank you so for the question. DMSA, you are most welcome. Absolutely. We've got the Quiet Storm who says, and one of our strong brothers in the community, he says, I have seen men in my profession lose business deals that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars because their wives slash dates were wearing the wrong clothes or acting the wrong way. This right here
Yeah.
is huge. I'll share a little experience from this, and then Lucy, I would love to hear what you think. Wow. Yes, I'm telling you, ladies, this is a big one here. If relationships are important to you, now, if you want to be single and just ride it out until you're 65, I support whatever you want to do. But if you think now or in the future you are going to want the caliber of man that most of us want, you represent his brand. There's some footage online from an etiquette school, I think back in the 1970s. And back then women didn't have the type of professional positions, but their husbands did. And so this was a school for the wives of rising executives: how to walk, how to host a dinner party, how to greet, fashion, just everything, because it's important. You have to be able to fit in those circles if that's the caliber of man that you want. And, some of you all have asked, was I always this way? But, the relationship that I am, he's a VP for a very large company. And I remember years ago when he said he was going for this role and taking executive coaching and being mentored and, had a goal to be VP. I was kind of like, I need to get it together because he's going to be around the type of people that know how to conduct themselves. And I have a silly side, but that's not always appropriate. And so I've done a lot of work to refine myself, and that's what we're going to share with you all. But Lucy, I'd love to know what you have to say about what the Quiet Storm said.
I believe that because men get respect from other men. So if the other men see the man's wife or significant other acting inappropriately, they're going to say, wait a minute, how is he making the right choices when he hasn't made the right choice with the one that is next to him every day? So I think that you are representing his brand, you are representing him, your family name, and yourself. So it's very important to be uh, absolutely as appropriate as possible when you are out there, because you're not only representing you, you're representing his brand, your husband's brand, your family brand, your last name, and so forth. And although here in the United States, I remember a while back, when I used to have Facebook. I don't have it anymore because People can be very ruthless. One time I said, I think we are not appreciating the fact that when we go out there, our name represents us. We represent our family name. And of course, I was absolutely stumped by the comments about, no, I'm my own person, I don't represent anybody, and so forth. So, but I think it's really important to have that in the back of, maybe literally you're not going to do it, but think about it. How do you want people to think about you and your husband when you go out there? Because even though you want to think that people do not judge, people judge. And how do you want to be judged? Do you want to be judged as somebody that's out there doing nonsense, or do you want us? If somebody speaks about you when you're not around, do you want people to say, "No, that's not Lucy. That's not the Lucy I know," or do you want to say, "Yeah, that matches what she did. She's done this, 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 and that." So those are the things that it's really important when you go out there to be just dressed for the occasion.
I love that. And we have someone in the back. So, Ebony, I'm going to bring you on in just a moment. But we have a $5 super chat from the African Wolf. Thank you so much. He says, keep cooking, and we will absolutely keep cooking. You all don't know how much your support means to us. Lucy and I have been working daily, meeting weekly all summer to put this finishing school together as our life's work. And we are very, very excited. So, ladies, if you didn't get it at home, you can check out the link in the description. But we will be doing these public Q&As because the class will be taught privately. So speaking of a public Q&A, we've got Ebony Dix. Ebony, you are here with us. What question do you have for me and Lucy?
Just more so,
Hi,
just
Ebony.
hi. Just want to say thank you. I actually saw Maggie you on TLA, and I would never have subscribed to you if I didn't see you and hear your point of view from the brawl, because I actually heard your name all through Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard's. I heard both of you, your names actually through the trial, because I watched him during the trial, and you being so transparent about how you felt about the brawl really helped me just be subscribed. And I'm your new student. I just finished that last click for the class, and it's actually, I'm going to say this, it's cost effective versus Anna Bay, which I also watch her too, and I do believe that we need these types of classes back back again. So and yes, and hearing, because my man right now, he's Latino, so I want to not I want to be there forever, and I already told him I want to be there forever, and I hope he continues to choose me, and that's the whole thing. So what we're doing really good. I'm really happy to be with him. So, but hearing just the other side too. So yeah, excited. Yeah, I'm excited to get some one-on-one attention from you ladies, and refine myself. I do want to say before I get off, I want to say thank you for that last latter part, Lucchese, how you're talking about how you want people to talk about you when you leave the room, because I think I've been so rough with my because I'm 43 now. I've been so rough with people in my 30s, maybe. I've just been so rough in being hot, not a hot girl summer, but the attitude of a hot girl summer, and I don't want that. So I want to groom myself to be a forever woman, a forever just like you talked about, Maggie, yesterday. Just I want to be a wife within a relationship, but not be a wife until he chooses me. So okay, I'm gonna go. I don't want to get
I
tongue tied. I
love
get
it.
nervous and I get tongue tied. So anyway, have a great one. I'm excited to see you ladies in the future. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So yes, Ebony just purchased the course. I am so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So much stuff you touched on there, Ebony. I'm a softie, y'all, so I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but when you've held something so near and dear to you and you believe that it has value, but there's no way to really know that unless, it's actually proven. And so many of you all in the community have reached out to Lucy, have reached out to me. Help us. Is there a book? Is there a teaching? Is there a course? So we finally put something together. Class starts after Labor Day. It's going to be a Saturday school. It'll be 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Of course, if we need to update anything, we'll let you all know. So it will be taught privately, but you will have lifetime access because we will record it. And this is our first, and we have so many good things coming. You all can click the link and preview, but I'll touch on a couple things that Ebony said, and then Lucy, I'd love for you to respond. The fact that she is intentional about this is where I used to be and this is where I want to be. And I always say there's different reasons to refine, right? It could be for a relationship like me and Ebony. We want to make sure that our men continue to choose us. It could be for your own personal reasons, right? Maybe it's professionally, you want to communicate better. Maybe it's a business or an investment and you want to make sure that you present the best side of yourself. Maybe you're meeting the in-laws or the potential in-laws for the first time. I look at things so differently now, as a boy mom, and you just, ladies, there's investing in yourself is so important. And yes, I know I got some tomatoes thrown at me in lead attorney's chat when I came up and I said that the woman had no business, and women in general have no business fighting with men. I'm always going to say resolve it peacefully if you can, but I stand on that. And I'm so excited for Ebony and any woman who says, you know what, I could do better. I haven't been the best version of myself. I haven't been the most feminine version of myself. Help me. We're here to help. So you're joining a community, a lifetime community. So much good stuff is coming. Lucy, what do you have to say about what Ebony said?
This is so exciting. Thank you, Ebony, for what you've said. Welcome to the community of feminine, elegant, and etiquette-filled ladies. And I think so. Excuse my dog. She's back there just trying to call my attention. I'm so sorry, guys, if you hear her barking in the background. I think it's the fact that she thought about her man first and how she can make him happy. I think that's it. I mean, that's all he needs to know. You're thinking about him first and how to become the best person for him. I think he's got a good one right there. So, so Mr. Ebony, you have a good one there, and thank you for signing up. I think we're going to learn so much from each other, and this community is going to grow. And how we have all of these panels talking about the horrible things that are happening in society, but they only talk. They don't talk about what's the action. What are you going to do to fix it? We are making little steps to try to fix at least a little portion of what we know and share what we know with the younger folks or those or our sisters that are wanting to have that information because they haven't been exposed to it before.
I absolutely love that. And I see some more comments coming in. We'll definitely come to you all's comments. I want to hit on something else that Ebony said. I've reposted the link. If anybody wants to come talk to us, you can be camera on or camera off. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you have feedback, this is us bravely putting our toe into the water and saying we think we might have something that's helpful. And so very, very excited. But yes, so what Ebony talked about is the price point, and we answered a lot of this in our first, this is really your Q&A, but just to call out the class or the sessions, it's $4.99 for all 8 weeks, including the workbooks, the guest speakers. One guest speaker alone that we've already hired charges $450 an hour. She's a former ballroom dancer. She's going to talk to us about moving feminine movement. So much to come. We're planning meetups, a lot of stuff. But when you decide to do this work, it is an investment. I think it's a worthy investment. And, I struggle with that. But when I talked to my guy, he told me, women spend money anyway on what they think is important. And nobody's here to tell you what you should do with your finances. But I think it does say a lot about you. And also, like Lucy and Ebony said, to your man. So speaking of Anna Bay, she's on YouTube. I've taken several of her courses, from style to being an elite woman and all of that. A lot of these courses, you're going to pay well over $1,000. And that's totally fine. We wanted to find ways to make this affordable. So there are monthly payments, there are quarterly payments. We even have some gentlemen in the community who have offered scholarships. And I know there's some questions about that. We have 3 scholarships that have been uh, planned so far. One has been awarded, so there's still 2 available. Scholarship decisions are being reviewed constantly, but they will be claimed by the end of the month of August. And so by September 1st, you all will know if you've been selected. So I encourage you all to apply. The link is in the description. If there's a man or a woman who wants to sponsor either a partial or full scholarship, if you believe in the work that we're doing, you can nominate someone that you want to apply a scholarship to specifically, or if you want to choose from the pool of applicants, you absolutely can. But yes, I am a student of Anna Bay. I've completed several of her courses. I'm actually going to show you all my little commercial, and then we'll come back to the questions, but just a little bit about my qualifications. This is just a 30-second reel, and then we're going to come back to the chat. So let us know what you all think about this. All right, so just a little bit about some of the work that I've done, and I still have access to all of those resources. And so we are going to be sharing with you all whatever we can do to help improve. Yes, yes, yes. All right, go ahead, Lucy.
To our moderators, thank you so much for being one of the greatest group of moderators in this chat. I have seen you posting all the links, all the information. I truly do. We appreciate you moderating these chats because it's a lot. I don't know how Maggie does it with all of these different social media, IG, Facebook, all that. It's a lot to keep track of. And if it wasn't for our moderators, it would be a much more difficult environment to manage. So thank you so much, moderators.
All right, so I'm going to come back to a comment we have from the Quiet Storm, and I see you all commenting here. He says, now the other side. I also saw a man who was struggling to land a huge merger account valued at $5.7 million. His wife politely stepped in, spoke well of her husband, and that sealed the deal. I want to talk for a moment about femininity as a superpower because I think this is so underrated. Women now, unfortunately, believe to compete with men, you need to act like men. And I think that is farthest from the truth. Honestly, when you carry yourself as a woman, it naturally, there's a clip on my page now when I met MTR in London for the first time, just me naturally going in and being helpful and doing what I can, which is I love to cook and serve, and just being nurturing and taking care of the group that I was with. He said, as a man, his natural tendency was to protect that. And so women, I would just offer, if you've never heard it before, if you've been around loud, combative, argumentative women, that's not the way to win. Lucy and I are very protected in this community. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't, but it's because we do carry ourselves in a way that the men in the community feel compelled to protect us. We've never asked for it, but they let us know that we are well protected. So men desire what they are not. So when you carry yourself as a woman, it naturally brings out the masculinity in a man. Lucy, what do you want to say about that?
That's an amazing story. I believe it. I believe that, again, the man is not only being tested individually, they're looking at how will the person that is their right hand, how will they speak about them? What do they feel about them? And I guarantee you, if she wouldn't have or if she would have stepped in the wrong way, he could have lost that deal. So she used her femininity, stepped in politely, and spoke well about the husband. As a wife or as somebody that has a significant other, why would you speak badly about the person that, I want to say, that sleeps with you every night, that takes care of you every day, that protects you? That is something that is, I have seen it, and it's really uncomfortable to hear a wife just speaking badly about the person that they're married to. So that was a great story about how femininity, how delicate, and her softness were able to land that 5.7 million deal.
I love that. And of course, who's going to benefit from that? When when the man wins, his woman wins too. I want to continue on with that, but there's a question here from Endless, the spokesperson for Lucy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you the lady in Obsidian Ali's channel?
I do moderate for MOAs. Sometimes I have to step out because it gets, sorry, gotta stop, please. The conversations get too masculine, so it steps over my what I can take. But for the most part, I do moderate in his chat. Thank you for asking.
I love that. And you know what? Before I go on, we received another super chat from Bella Rings. Thank you so much, sweetheart. I appreciate the $4.99. You all don't even have to be here, but when you come through and support like that, it makes our day. I know Lucy will be right back. I want to continue on with what we're sharing with you all, and I want to talk a little bit about femininity on social media, especially in relationships. Ladies, I don't know what is going on with this trend where if there's something happening in your personal relationship, the first place you go is live on TikTok, live on Instagram. I'm going to find it. There was another comment up here about from the Quiet Storm about thirst traps on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, any social media. Keep private things private. You are not serving yourself to air dirty laundry. If you are in a relationship, and any of us who have been in relationships, Lucy and I have been married, have been divorced, she's remarried, I've been in a long term. Any relationship is going to have its ups and downs. But what I tell my consults is, do you want to win the battle or do you want to win the war? And that momentary win of, ooh, yeah, I told him or got somebody told, I would say 10 times out of 10, if you follow up with those women after the fact, they regret that they made another permanent decision from a temporary emotional state. People try to course correct and scrub their social media, and by then it's too late. We'll talk about this in the course as well, but we all have emotions and they all flare up, but you've got to find out what way you can remove yourself from a situation, gather yourself, and then deal directly with the person, if you can, that caused, whatever offense, and work it out. But any relationship, family, love relationship, work relationship, you have to take some of that stuff to the grave. It does not belong online, because not only are the people that you're talking about watching, other people are watching. If you're leaving a relationship, your next relationship is looking like, ooh, is this how she handles an argument? Your future family in-laws are like, ooh, we don't want to bring that on. So absolutely, do not air your dirty laundry on the internet. I see you in the back, Kaylee. When Lucy comes back up, Lucy, what do you want to say about that? And then we have Kaylee in the back.
Yes, what happens at home, my camera is acting, it's the kind of camera that moves when you move around. And when I went to get my dog, it moved completely out of, focus. And then I'm trying to focus it back up. Anyway, so yes, I read somewhere that said, if what you're saying came out in the newspapers, how would that sound? how would that look to those who read it? So you got to think about those, those things. If you think it's going to be wrong, just don't do it. If you're going to say something that's going to come out the wrong way, just don't say it. And it takes time to step back and think about it. But again, if you're going to badmouth your significant other, there's probably other reasons why you're doing it, and you need to look into those issues why you're doing it. Again, if you're going to go into social media, if you think that you're going to delete that information, you better believe that somebody else has already got a screenshot of it. They've already are planning content to make on what you said. So again, just be a little more conscientious about the things that you're going to speak about, or about those who you're going to speak about, because it might come out in the end, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And we've got a question about the class that I'm going to answer. And one of the benefits about being our students for our Saturday school, it's going to be 1 hour of lecture. And then we're going to do these private Q&As after every class exclusively for our students. So if you're struggling with having a tough conversation with somebody, these are the things that you all will be able to bring to class and say, help me address this issue, or can you write something for me that I can communicate what I'm trying to feel without getting tongue-tied. So we're going to be available for our students because we know this takes practice, and we definitely want to lock arms on the journey with you all. So DMSA 918 says, are the classes going to be live classes? I live in Germany, so there would be a big time difference for me. So I'll answer that, and then Lucy, you can chime in, and then Kaylee will bring you up. So these classes will be taught live but recorded. They will be taught in a private Zoom link that's only going to be available to registered students. You can get the whole class, or when you go online and look at the whole course, or when you go online and look at the curriculum. If you just want to do a bundle of 2 subjects at a time, you can absolutely do that. So we tried to pick a time. We know people are all over the world, but 12 p.m. Eastern, I believe, will be about 6 p.m. Germany time. I could be wrong. So that would be your Saturday evening. So we would love to have you all in class live, but you will have lifetime access to the teaching. You'll already have your downloadable workbooks and the replay. So hopefully that answers your question. Anything to add to that one, Lucy?
Nothing to add. I do want to bring up the Quiet Storm comment. If you don't think men watch those emotional rants online and take note of them, you're terribly misinformed. We see everything. And they do. They are stealth watching, and they're looking at specifically bad behavior, because unfortunately, it seems that social media feeds off of that bad behavior, and men are watching. And just, ladies, there's no reason to show that behavior. There's no reason to act that way just for a few additional clicks. It's not worth it.
Absolutely. All right. So we have someone in the back. I'm going to bring up Kaylee. Hello, Kaylee. Thank you so much for being here. What questions do you have, or how can we help you?
Hello, Maggie and Lucasely. Peace be with you. Thank you so much for having this live stream. I don't want to take up too much time, but I am really grateful for y'all as women and leading our sisters. And as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, Lucasely, about just kind of getting on the same page with our sisters as far as respecting the men. I've had issues with that. But my question, and also just wanted to shout out for your parents, or one of your parents who said Maggie was a home economics teacher. And that's kind of the space that I'm operating in on my channel. So I'm really happy to just kind of follow in that leadership and that mentorship. But my question is, how can women present more feminine in a masculine workplace? As we know that, women meet their spouses in the workplace a lot of times. How can that happen? Personally, there's situations where it's like you have to wear pants. you have to wear sneakers or things like that. Especially in the home area with home renovations and construction and things like that. It's like, if I'm a woman in this space, um, it's almost, I have to present a little bit more masculine on the outside. But I'm just wondering, like, how, to help other women with that. That's my question.
Okay, so I'll take a stab at answering. Just one clarification, Kaylee. Are you talking about performing your job but staying feminine in a masculine space, or being appealing as a woman to possibly meet someone in a masculine work environment? Just so I'm clear.
Oh, I like that distinction. I would probably want to ask both, but no, but the latter is probably more of what I'm getting at, so that they can exit the workplace and stay at home.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
you. It sounds like Kaylee is, how should we say, is saying that she is available and looking to be possibly selected. This is good. I'm only saying this, please correct me if I'm wrong. Lucy and I are tossing so many ideas around, and even possibly, Lucy, if it's okay, I'll say we're thinking about having some type of refined, matchmaking, dating, something where when women have maybe completed our course, we can help them vet, possible suitors, just everything on a little bit more refined label, because we definitely want our ladies to win. So I will say this, because I actually met my ex-husband at work. I met my current guy at school. I met my ex-husband at work. So it's true. The places that we spend so much time working or studying, I think it's natural. Conversations will spark, and then you can find out what things people have in common. And then if there's an attraction, I think we overcomplicate relationships. It just goes from there. The one thing I would say, you do have to be a little bit more cautious at work, but I hear you loud and clear. You want to exit the workforce. Me, Lucy and I want to exit the workforce. So if there's any gentlemen watching who may have a benefits package to present, reach out to me and I'll connect with Kaylee. But I would just say this, especially if you're in a masculine environment, because I work in tech and I work in corporate America. It's data driven, it's competitive, and it's quite masculine. So I made that mistake of thinking I needed to be like the boys, but it's just not sustainable as a woman. So now I have really course corrected, and I don't overtalk men in meetings. I make sure that I show up, even though I work from home. This is what I look like in my Zoom meetings. I saw something from Erin Laura about people just showing up in their pajamas, like in Zoom. You are still representing yourself. So I think you look lovely. If you have a uniform that you have to wear, of course, abide by those work rules. But so many things that women can do that are just subtle and very feminine. That eye contact, just a gentle smile, a greeting, hello. So many women have like an off-putting body language men don't even approach. And you think that, well, this is just who I am. But if you have a goal, and it sounds like you're prioritizing relationships, which I commend you for, I would make sure that you show up feminine. And when you do have the opportunity to talk to someone, I'm thinking about a way to indicate that you're single and available. But men usually pursue when they see something that they like. So I would probably, how they say women like go out alone or not be like too many, like with girls or with other guys. Just make yourself available, show maybe you just having lunch quietly by yourself with a book, or something like that. So men can kind of have that curiosity and say, let me see about this. Lucy, what do you say? I'm so excited.
The book does work. The book does work.
It's funny because I met my husband at work. So, and this goes back to what the Quiet Storm says, that men are always watching. So he would look at, I would feel somebody look at me. Wait a minute, am I being watched? As I was walking. And then one time I had to go get a soda from a vending machine. He saw me, he approached me. That's all it took. So that femininity that we all have inside us, a smile, that's all it takes for a man to say, oh, she's interesting. Let me see if I can approach her. Have that approachability type, welcoming body language, not always being crossed, have that serious face. A smile is always welcome for the older men, for younger kids. For a smile is a welcoming sign that you are ready to welcome somebody to come to you and say hello. That's it. And and cherish that femininity that you have. I can see it. You're a beautiful woman. My God, what man is not going to want to approach you? But you do have to just have that. um, what's the worst that could happen? Smile. That's it. So and at work, I used to work with board of directors, and you think that you're supposed to be stay occupy space on your table when all the men are talking. No, if they want you to talk, they say, Lucy, do you have something to say? You don't even have to say anything. They will open the floor for you. The more feminine you are, the more they're going to be wanting to take care of you, and that's what they do.
I absolutely love that part. That's something that I do in meetings. And then, Kaylee, I just want to make sure what we've said is helpful. And then any other questions you have. Over talking men is extremely masculine. And a lot of women are just like, yeah, I just want to get my point out. But I have learned and I have disciplined myself. And I do this in my relationship. When my man speaks, I stop talking. When any man speaks, I stop talking. And what you would think is that, no, I'm just going to keep going so that you know that you interrupted me. Actually, the opposite happens. And it's just natural. When a man has a challenge, he's going to, bark louder. And that's not what you want. But if I'm patient and I just stop speaking and wait for a natural break in the conversation, what has happened 10 times out of 10 is the men will say, oh, I'm so sorry, I interrupted you. Please finish your thought. Or like Lucy said, if you're quiet in a meeting, you're diligent, you're taking notes, you're paying attention, but you're quiet. Sometimes the host of the meeting might say, Kaylee, we haven't heard from you. What would you like to add? And I use that a lot in that viral clip that went in that London podcast. I was there with 10 people and I didn't overtalk or interrupt. But when there was a break in the conversation, it allowed me time to put my thoughts together and say something that now has got over, 3 million views. So that's a little technique, ladies, that you can use. It seems counterintuitive, but I let the men speak and I listen, and that is a huge feminine superpower. Does that make sense, Kaylee? Is that helpful?
Absolutely. And I'm just going to start wearing flowers in my hair because I have to wear pants all day. So I don't like wearing pants and I feel like I present, but I really do appreciate y'all's feedback. And I would love the opportunity to get some type of sponsorship for your finishing school. And I will do my best. And I'm going to hop over to Miley's live now because I saw that y'all had a conversation. So I'd really like to talk with my sister over there. So thank you so much for having me and your time.
Oh my goodness.
God
Are you
bless you.
Miley's sister from the lead attorneys chat?
No, we just met yesterday because I watched your live with her. And so I want to go over and see what she's talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. And give her my best. So gentlemen or any ladies, we have, if the moderators would drop, not only do we have a scholarship link for applicants. So Kaylee, please apply for a scholarship.
Okay.
There's also a sponsorship link. So if there are any gentlemen that want to sponsor Kaylee for the finishing school, on that Google form, there's a place where you can indicate if you want to nominate someone specific, and those funds will go to make sure that Kaylee or whoever you want is available to come to finishing school. All right. Thank you so much for coming, Kaylee. Hopefully we see you soon.
Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, I'm so excited. So excited. Okay. Focus, Maggie.
I love that she had a pen. She was taking notes. I love that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. And she came up here and she presented well. She was camera ready. That's another thing that I'm going to say, ladies. We are going to require that in the finishing school because Lucy and I are giving our best, and we want to set an expectation that, you know, if you're going to be part of the live class and your camera is on, that you're camera ready. The sessions will be recorded, but also just about getting comfortable with putting a little bit of effort. It doesn't mean you have to be dressed to the nines, but we're showing respect, so we want you to show that respect. We got BLJ in the chat. He says, ladies, we have you on the work 85-inch screen. All of us are discussing this right now. All of us are very successful. Quiet Storm is right. We are always watching.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hi, everyone at work. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We've got something in Espanol. Lucy, please read and please answer or translate.
Mr. Edmund Engel, Edge, is that how you say it? Junior, two inspiring ladies. Greetings to Maggie y un abrazo para ti, Lucchese 20. Un abrazo grandísimo para usted, señor Edmund Ng Jr. Gracias por estar aquí. Oh,
So
he said a big hug to you and me, to both of us. Sorry, I forgot to. That's how it happens with my mom. My sisters and I start talking, and we're like, God, we gotta translate. Let's go back and translate for her. So it says a big hug for you and me. So thank you, gracias.
yes, gracias. Thank you so much, Edmund. And it means so much to us that the men support this work. You all being here, you all vouching for us, you all encouraging us. Like I said in the beginning, so many men have reached out to me and Lucy and just said, you know, please help. And Lucy and I were huge fans of the late, great Kevin Samuels. And I always remember listening to his replays and he would say, ain't that right, Luke Hazley? And I just remember Kevin saying, where are the older women to teach the young? And so, you know, like I said, we decided to put our heart and soul into this work. And neither of us have daughters. And so this is something that we believe will outlive us. And we're very, very excited. Any other questions here? Yes, thank you, Kaylee, for coming up. I'm scrolling to see if I missed anything. I'll drop the link one more time in case anybody wants to chat camera on or camera off. Excuse me.
That's interesting. Her name was Kaylee and then Mei Lee. That
No,
is, and they look like they could be cousins or
that's what
sisters.
I
That's
said. Oh
so
my goodness.
interesting.
Are they sisters? But yeah, so several of you all, Lucy and I are also moderators in the lead attorney space, and he has been a huge support and advocate for the work that we're doing for women. And so I think at this time, I want to show Lucy's commercial, and then I see some more questions coming in, but we got a little something we want to show you all. Another 30-second commercial about what makes a Lucy so special to teach you. So sit back and watch. All right, all right. So I hope you all can see that Lucy and I are bringing our life experience and the work that we've done. We're very different, but we're very passionate about the same thing. So I'm so excited. Essence has a question. Are there any classes that would be appropriate for a teenager, a 16-year-old girl? I am so glad you asked. I'll take a stab at answering, and then Lucy, you can chime in. This class is going to be great for a teenage girl. Now, when Lucy and I put our curriculum together, this is the first of many. This is going to be our entry level signature course. And we thought and we talked about the age range that this course would apply to. And we're thinking 15 to 16, up to 60 or more, because whatever stage you are in life, even Lucy and I continue to do the work to be the best version of ourselves. So we are going to be very mindful that there are going to be young women in the course. There are going to be, just modern women in the course, and even mature women in the course. So absolutely, if you have teenage girls, I think the floor would be 15 to 16 years old. But we would love you all's feedback if you think that a course, maybe the finishing school for the young woman, is something that we should focus on next. We can talk about that, because I know there are some things, especially the social media piece, that are going to be really keen. Any thoughts on that one, Lucy, about 16-year-olds in our class?
Yes, it's going to be pretty age appropriate. The topics that we're going to discuss are through 16, 17 through 70, 80 years old. There aren't going to be things that we're going to get into that might not be age appropriate. We're not going to get into depth about inappropriate things, specifically when it comes to intimacy and all that stuff. That's not going to be part of what we do. We're going to focus more on etiquette, manners, elegance, and that is typically how the outside world. Yeah, there's probably going to be some talk about it when it comes to somebody bringing up relationship issues, and we might discuss that on a surface level, but we're not going to get into depth, because again, if you get too much into the weeds about relationship and intimacy things, that's probably part of a therapy session, not a finishing and elegance and etiquette environment.
Absolutely. So we've got the Quiet Storm who says the commercials have 10 plus sounds written all over it. That is correct. 10 plus sounds is our editor. Anything that you see that looks professional, he did it. Okay. He made it. We've got something else en Español para ti. We have BLJ. Would you please translate and answer?
Gracias, BLJ. Ambas damas están haciendo un trabajo maravilloso. Encantada de hacerlo, una labor de amor. He says that both ladies are doing a beautiful, a wonderful work presenting this information. And what I said, that it's our work of labor. It's our, labor of love.
Absolutely. And since we have BLJ in the house, not only is a huge supporter and a moderator here, he's given permission to say he is one of the sponsors who is offering a scholarship. So ladies, you have a sponsor in the chat if you would like to pitch yourself. And one thing I do want to say about the scholarships. So we have BLJ so far, Mr. Brandon Eljet. We also have Mr. Option One, who really believe in the work that we're doing and want to put their money where their mouth is. We asked both of the men what are their criteria for who they want to award scholarships to. Lucy and I will not be selecting who receives the scholarships. We believe it's up to the men. And so they have provided the questions that you all see in the scholarship application have been given by BLJ and Mr. Option One, and they will be the ones, we're collecting them now, and we've given them 30 days. So at the end of August, they will look at the pool of applicants and then decide. However, if somebody's application strikes and they're ready right now, Mr. Option One has already selected someone because something about her application stood out to him. And we will email you and give you your 100% off code so you can have access to the class. So I just wanted to share that and thank BLJ and Mr. Option One for sponsoring the work that we are doing. And again, if there's any other men or any other women, if it's your sister, your daughter, your neighbor, or if you just want to support and say, I'd like to offer a full or partial scholarship, I saw Erin Laura drop the link to the sponsorship form. So thank you, BLJ. Got Barry Hamilton coming in with the pounds. Shout out to the UK. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the 4.99. No comment, no question, just the pure love of the femininity.
That's right. Our brother from across the pond.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you all. Yes. Anything you wanted to add about the scholarships or sponsorships? And we'll probably go about 10 more minutes and give you all your Saturday afternoon. Anything else?
I think the beautiful thing is that the responsibility of choosing who's going to be selected for the scholarships is not falling on either one of us. The men are going to make the choice. They're the ones putting up the money, and they're looking for specific criteria on who will most benefit from those scholarships. So I think it's amazing the amount of um, support that we get from these high value men. And for all men are high value from the beginning. You know, they have a hard life. Believe it or not, ladies, men have it really hard in the world. And it's time for us to start opening our eyes and welcoming their masculinity in our world, because they've built the world for us. So yes, it's great. That scholarship idea was amazing, and it's just, this is gonna be good. I love it. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. I wanted to circle back to something that Bella Rings offered to Kaylee and anyone else who wants to stay feminine at work. I love that. And she actually has a military background. I don't think you can get any more masculine of an environment than that. She says, remain professional and be friendly to an extent. You know, make sure you don't cross any lines for your work environment. Be open, be teachable. I love that. Men need to feel like they are valued. And one of the ways that we women can do that is by listening to them and respecting their perspective and acting on it. That goes a long way, ladies. And I love this. She says, if he's interested, he will approach and let you know. If you wear a uniform, look polished always. I love that piece on it, ladies. I know there's so much online about all the extra stuff that people put on. Lucy and I are very simple women, but we always try to look our best, and it doesn't take a lot. But I love that part. Even if it's just your work uniform, make sure that it's clean, make sure that you're well groomed. We're going to talk about this in detail in the course, but the effort that you put into showing up, my man always says it speaks volumes to all the other things that you're going to do. So he's thinking about the home that you might possibly, have for him. How are you going to take care of any future children? It's more than just, I'm looking at you right now and you haven't, bathed or, washed your hair. Men really think farther into the future than we women do. So always be intentional about what you do. Anything you wanted to add about that, Lucy?
Yes, the polished look. When she talks about the uniform, make sure that it's anything you wear, it's ironed, that it doesn't have wrinkles, that it's not like it looks like you just grabbed it from the closet and just put it on without putting any care on it. The black man in the suit, that is a great comment. Looking for the links to sponsor. Oh my goodness. Thank you, the black
I'm
man in the
pulling it up
suit.
right now.
Yes. So, yes, and also you don't need to wear, expensive clothing as long as it's clean, pressed, it just fits you well. There's no need to go into debt to make yourself look beautiful. A nice cotton blend, linen blend dress that you get from Old Navy, if it's ironed and it fits your body right, that's all. That's all. The right man will take a look at it and will approach you just by the way you look. He doesn't care about how much those shoes cost. He doesn't care about how much that dress cost. In fact, if you're wearing a Birkin bag, he's gonna say, "Ooh, that costs a lot. How is that going to benefit me financially? Is she an asset or a liability?" So again, you don't need to wear expensive anything for a man to notice you, for somebody to treat you as a VIP person. All you need to do is just look polished, have those manners, present them, and that's all it takes.
I love that. And I want to make sure I respond to the man. First of all, the black man in the suit, thank you. Welcome and thank you so much. So I am just, I'm so overjoyed that you all see the value in what we're doing, and we're not going anywhere. This is going to be our legacy, and it's our life's work. This is just the beginning. And he says he's looking for the links to sponsor. So I've dropped the link to the Google form in the chat. So if you would just confirm that that opens up and you guys have what you need. Again, if we have any men or women in the community that want to support this work, you can sponsor a full scholarship or a partial scholarship. And you can even indicate specifically on the form, if you want to name somebody that the scholarship goes to, we will reach out to them and they won't even have to apply. So if you want to send your daughter, your sister, we're happy to do that. Magdalena Mary says, thank you. You're going to look for the scholarship. Okay, I do see your question. There was one thing I wanted to add, and then we'll go to Mary Magdalene's question. When it comes to how we present, especially for men, ladies, here's a little tip. And you all know I wear Old Navy, so everything I wear is affordable. But men are looking at how you present and if they can take on you as an expense. I know we feel like we're all this and that, but really a man who's looking to provide for you is looking at the lifestyle that you have and making decisions about how, if and how he wants to absorb that. So just be very mindful. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself, but men are very strategic and very intentional and kind of better with money. We're emotional and we can be impulsive. So don't think you've got to spend a lot of money to impress a man. They actually like for us to kind of customize ourselves to them, and they will tell us, I like your hair that way, or I don't like your hair that way, or I like that dress on you, or I don't. So be open, be pliable, be moldable, and don't sink yourself into debt, because this consumer culture is not driven by the men who want to take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. We'll see if this is our last question from Mary Magdalene. She says, hopped on a bit late, but thank you, ladies, for everything. Being from New York, in the concrete jungle of New York City, raised by women, mostly tough and aggressive, I've always rejected the mindset, but what are some main tips to make sure I can be more feminine that some women may often overlook, still working on self-awareness? And you're going to look into the scholarship. No problem. This is what the Q&A is for. We'll do this twice a month. Free. You all can talk to us and ask your questions. So some of them that I've said, you've asked for a couple tips on being more feminine that women overlook. One of our sponsors has told us communication is very important. We ran our curriculum by some men that we respect and asked them, did we cover enough to get started? What are we missing? And you know who you are if you want to say, but the feedback was that women today do not know how to communicate. This is something that we're going to talk about in the course, but ladies, 2 things that you can do to instantly be more feminine: slow down and lower your volume. Because I used to talk like this all the time. No, it is not not attractive. And men will be thinking to themselves how abrasive your communication is. So we'll work on that. We'll do like mock, not interviews, but we'll practice in the privacy of our class and make sure that you're comfortable communicating. Elegance is not rushed. That's something that I had to learn. And shout out to our northern sisters, Boston, New York, or wherever. Sometimes just your natural or your conditioned upbringing makes you a lot more aggressive than you intend to be. So you're going to have to be very intentional, like I am, about slowing down and softening your volume. Do not overtalk men. And I think women really underestimate the power of a smile. Lucy, what would you say?
I absolutely agree. A smile, a smile, it says, I am welcoming whoever is going to approach me. I think also staying away from the social media environment where you see all of these panels of people screaming at each other, arguing with each other. Just it makes your inside just dark. So try to go outside and look at the world with a lens of appreciation. I remember somebody commented, I was walking, I think I was running, and I took a picture of this little tree that was growing on a fence, and I posted it. And somebody said, "Oh, it takes Lucy to make a little tree be beautiful." Because if you go out there and start looking at the world with a lens of appreciation, things change. Even the way you look change. So it makes you softer. So appreciate the things that you have rather than looking at what you don't have. So I think that that's one of those things that, as women, I think we have it in us to be more appreciative of life, and it opens us more to be that soft feminine that it's innate in us. So I think that that's one thing that would probably help, the smile and just look at the world with a lens of appreciation.
Absolutely. If there are any men in the chat that want to add something that we've missed or reinforce what we said, that appreciation, Lucy, it goes so far. And so many women today, especially our young women, my heart just breaks as a boy mom because I see things differently now, how hard men have to work, how they have to fight to just grow up and be a man and stay on their square. And for a woman to think you're entitled to anything that they work so hard for is incredibly rude and disrespectful. Always say thank you, even if it's just let me help you with that bag or get the door for you. It goes so far and it doesn't cost you anything. There's so much that you can do that can show up as, there's something a little bit different about her. And the last thing I'll say is I love what Lucy said about the way we see the world. And I'm very protective of what I allow into my space. I don't watch the news. I don't watch, I'm on social media, but my content, like I always say, is happy, wholesome, and family friendly. And I do that because I don't like the way I feel differently when I take in all the sides argument. There's always going to be something you can be offended by. There's always going to be a can you believe, but I intentionally steer towards the things that make me better so I can bring that to you all. Now, of course, if a war breaks out or something, I'm going to hear about it, but just everyday bad news, I intentionally avoid that. So I absolutely love it. Erin Laura says, yeah, social media, bad attitude can really rub up on people. Ooh. BLJ says, those answers came from the five fellas. Okay, let's see. Did I miss something? BLJ says, ooh, yes, it was me, Maggie. Okay, I never want to get out in front of our men, but Brandon was the one who said, we need to help women communicate better. So we are definitely going to be focusing on that. And again, if there's anything else that the men want us to cover, or ladies, if you want us to cover in class, we will. So the men that are watching say, oops, less talking, more listening. Well, let me get a beverage too. Okay, so I'll read through these. I'll touch on them briefly, and then Lucy, please do the same. So ladies, you hear it from the men. Less talking, more listening, more smiling, less anger, insightful questions, and applied learning. I like that. Okay, so the less talking, more listening. Ladies, I'll just say this. Men and women are different. We like all the detail. We like all that. Men don't. I've had to work on getting to the point. If I need something, asking for that, and then adding the context only if my man asks me to. So that's something I've had to work on. The smiling is an easy one for me. Some people have to work on that, but I talked about this in another Q&A. Practice. Look at yourself in the mirror, record yourself, see what your natural face looks like. I'm intentional about smiling. And then insightful questions and applied learning. To me, that means be curious, but also be coachable. So if your man gives you some feedback, don't take offense to it. Listen to what he's saying, because this is one thing I know. If men don't care, They don't say anything. And when they stop talking, then you got something to worry about. So if he's giving you feedback or if you've made a mistake, don't repeat that mistake because they're watching to see if you took what they said and you acted on it. What do you have to say, Lucy?
I agree. The more talking, the less you're going to listen to those key points that if you're speaking to your supervisor or somebody at the um, board meeting, listen, take notes. I like Kaylee, how she had, that's why I noticed her pen, she was taking notes. Because if you're taking notes, of course, you're not going to be in a relationship taking notes all the time, walking around like you're a secretary next to your husband writing notes. But it gets you into that mode of listening more rather than speaking. You don't have to jump in all the time. Just allow him to say his piece and then say, okay, when you said this, is this what you meant? It's a normal conversation. The over speaking is it's just grating on men because you're not allowing them to speak their piece. Now, more smiling, less anger. I remember when I was first learning how to answer the phones, and I was teaching a call center of folks answering the phones. They always said, have a mirror next to you. Because if you look at the mirror and how you're answering, if you're smiling, that smile is going to show on the phone. So always have that. I have a mirror here next to me because, first of all, we're going to be on camera and we need to look presentable, but always have that opportunity to look at yourself and see how you're going to look for some when somebody is approaching you. Insightful questions, again, you're asking for a reason. And if you get feedback, try to apply it. There's no reason to ask a question, you get feedback, and you don't use it. Apply what you're learning on those teachings because, again, the man, all he wants to do is guide you the right way, the right man. Again, if you're with the right man, all he wants is, again, to be your hero and to guide you the right way so you can both be successful. So I think that was it.
I think so. I think we covered everything. And Bella says you're working on that right now. My husband reminds me sometimes he doesn't need all the detail unless asked. You are not alone. And ladies, this will be a community where we can help each other because you can always get better. Even I mess up sometimes and I get a talking to, and I'm like, oh, okay. But we get up and we keep trying. And it just shows our men how much we value them. But I'll just end on this. It doesn't, I know some people say not all, but even if this is not for relationship reasons, there are so many other reasons why just carrying yourself like a lady as your superpower just pays off in droves. And there's so many benefits that come from it. And so I just want to say, thank you all for being here and for supporting us through our first Q&A. So again, our class is going to start September 9th. It's going to be a Saturday school taught live and recorded, but in our private community. You can apply for scholarships. Men or any women who want to sponsor someone, you can indicate that on the sponsorship form. And we would love your feedback. We plan to do this about twice a month, just to come outside of the class to answer questions and give back. Yeah, I can't wait to get started. Lucy, do you have anything to close us out?
Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. This is, again, for me, the introvert, is just incredible to see how much interest there is and the love that's coming from all of you. I've been looking at the chat, and there's not one comment that has been any other way than positive. And that to me is just so, it's that love that you're showing for us and that you support the work that we are putting into maybe making a little bit of the environment more friendly and just happy, a good place.
Absolutely. I think there's more of that. So, whether you all are watching live or the replay, thank you. Please share. You can find Lucy and I on social media. I stream, Lucy streams. We have content. I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher. Lucy is Lucchese. Thank you all for all of the support. And until our next Q&A, let me see. We do have one scheduled, or we will do this again, I believe, at the end of the month. So every other week, every 2 weeks, we plan to do this. So I appreciate you all, and we will see you on the next one.
Gracias.
Bye.
Adiós.